Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us again. We're back. I'm going to drag Cramer through the mud today, man. He's pulled a couple boneheaders out there, man. and now he's kind of got a couple good calls, too. So we'll throw some kudos in there. But for the most part, man, he ticked some stuff around. And it's not good. Getting warmed up, though, the first thing we noticed was oil was an issue. And he was short oil. And what are we doing with SJIM today on that?
Yeah, he went short. Well, he went negative on oil a couple days ago, so we bought USO. He's been right so far, but I mean, normally his calls on oil aren't very good. The only one I remember he got right was, Pioneer, but that's because Exxon bought him.
Right.
And I don't think Kramer saw that one coming. So better to be lucky than good sometimes. But I like oil down here. Um, so we're sticking with it. I mean, the Kramer curse will eventually come and bite him on the butt on that one, I'm sure.
We're kind of right in an area of support on USO, I'm noticing. And I think we could see it bounce right off that previous accumulation here. I've traded it.
Yeah, I mean, you look at USO and it's right below the 200-day moving average. So, I
Right.
mean, technically for me, if I were trading it myself, it's in short sale position, but it's extended. I mean, the time to short it would have been, around that 80 area, not down here at 68. So I
Right.
like it for a long.
I could see probably bottom tick that, but I do also notice. Let me get a couple of things together. I haven't drawn on this chart yet because I've been on the rest of the study. I skipped over all the stuff he said about oil yesterday and the 10 things to watch, and I went right for the equities. But this is a pretty easy one. It's just about at the bottom of the expected measured move here off of this trend here. So yeah, I'd say we could start looking to go long on oil pretty soon here, and just kind of trade it into range between like 80 and 65, somewhere in that neighborhood. But I don't think it's going to crack 68 just yet. I think it's going to hold there and bounce. Good stuff. I like oil, but it's like I haven't been interested in trading it much since this mess was easy. Going back, into January, February, and March, it was pretty nice trades, but now it's just kind of It's not very appealing to me right now, but I'll come around. Once I start to see a reversal down here, I'll probably get into it, get a little interested in it. Cool stuff. Looking forward into the first thing he was talking about yesterday, as far as equities go, was Target, and I've been trading Target for a while, and I know last week we talked about it. We said it was very likely to come up and flirt with the um, old analyst estimate target of like 130, and it nailed it. Bounced off of it, came up from our bottom here, and I don't remember what Kramer's bias was on it last week, but I know we were looking for a retrace back to that target, and it followed through
Yeah,
exactly.
and he likes it now, so we're going short, which is nice. It kind of looks like it's setting up as a double top. So
It's
I kind of like the short side on this at the moment.
it's right in a perfect spot for a good short entry. I usually wait for a little more conviction, but I think you could probably be pretty safe with it. Um, Looking at the previous move, I had the really big measured move set up on my chart. It read it out my chart for so long, and then it hit the bottom, bounced up, and this in itself is its own measured move here. Looking from May, around the beginning of May, we had that nice trend down through kind of June there. It fiddled around in June all the way to the end of August, and then made the rest of that move. And this recent move where he went bullish on it, we hit the target right at 130, and it's right in the middle of the mix here, right back to the previous consolidation on that 1-for-1 down. This is where we get that 50% retracement. We're always looking to go short and capture half or a whole move down. So I'll wait a couple bars on this, but I think it's a good shot for a good short if it doesn't break this 130 level too much. If it does, though, we got another move to possibly hit 160. But I don't see the economy
Yeah,
moving
I
enough
wouldn't
to
want
do
to see
that.
it break yesterday's high at 131.53.
Yeah, that's definitely kind of the ceiling as far as this goes. But as soon as it starts to reject very genuinely off of 130, I think I might take a short on that too. That's looking pretty good. I'm always a little cautious on that. I'll wait for a couple bars and see where we go first, but it's looking promising so far. And then the other thing you talked about after that, you went to like Home Depot and Stanley Black and Decker, and I've never been a huge fan of trading Home Depot, but except back when the situation with the lockdown and all that stuff kind of hit the bottom and it gave some opportunities. But oh gosh, that was even further back there. But essentially, now we've been kind of walking around in a range on this thing, and he was like taking a little bit of a bullish look on it. Said that they did well with their earnings and all that stuff, and the price action kind of set it up. It gave a nice boost 1 for 1 right back up, and kind of hit the middle of the major move here and stopped. So I'm looking for a possible short on this if it comes back and retraces back to where it was before earnings. And it's kind of the thing we've talked about. When you have a big earnings pop like that, it oftentimes gives half or whole move back and just ends up right back where it was before earnings, and life goes on. Typically, in most sectors, you'll see that, but with Home Depot, it's kind of a hit or miss. It's not my most favorite chart to trade. It's just kind of eh.
Yeah, no, I don't like this setup either way. I mean, if you were going to go long, time to do that was in the 280s,
Right.
popped above its 200-day moving average. Maybe I could go long here with the 200-day as a stop, but it's
Yeah.
just, yeah, to me, it's extended on the upside, but it's not really setting up, any type of short entry for me either.
It's kind of right up against resistance. It's got a little bit of a chance to continue higher here, but I'm looking at it and I'm like, well, it did break the. I like to use Bollinger Bands as kind of training wheels for price action, and it's got that long wick on this bar here outside the band here, and it just came back up, tested the top of that, broke back over. It's it's kind of either way at the moment, but when it does break, it'll give you a quick trade. But it's like too early to take a side on that. I'm gonna wait. Agreed. It's not my favorite, but I did look at SWK here, and that was actually reasonable setup. That one looked to hit the exact 50% retracement. And let me go back here. This move here, right on the weekly chart, and it wicked right off that sucker, and it's setting up to be a probable decent short. We're just going to wait a couple more days and see if we can get short on that, go back to the pre-earnings low or about to in between here. So I probably target about 83.60, 83.50 on that, just looking for a short here. I just want to wait and see this break first. Um, Otherwise, it could also, finish this accumulation and run back to that, 92.50 area one more time. But it's looking like it'll break over. As soon as it breaks this support here from the other day, it may just be a quick short back down and walk this bar or maybe even finish the whole move. So keep an eye on that one. That could be a good short. Um, the other one he talked about, and this is where he starts to pull off. He's starting to look at real estate and stuff and mortgage demand and all that stuff. And then he started talking about home builders, and he kind of ranked them. And the first one he lists is just a garbage chart. He talks about Dr. Horton and his DHI.
Yeah.
And it's like, eh, you can kind of see, it's very extended. It may be a good short, but that thing is
Very,
just,
yeah.
it's so parabolic. It's like you want to short that, but it's like, I'm going to be cautious on that. I don't like this chart very much, even though it had a pretty clean weekly chart. The daily chart is just trash. I mean, it's so hard to judge this thing. Look at this. That's
Yeah,
parabolic
I
pencil.
wouldn't mind looking at the home builders as shorts. I mean, the time to go long would have been, end of October. I would not be buying home builders now, but Yeah, I think you've got a lot of euphoria from the standpoint of, yeah, the Fed is done,
Yep.
but done doesn't mean cutting.
Right.
And you've still got mortgage rates at like 8%. I just, I would look for potential short entries here. This one looks double toppy to me.
Oh, definitely.
Wouldn't be shorting it today. I mean, it's done nothing the past 2 days, so let it percolate. But yeah, I would definitely be looking at that stuff.
Agreed. The only caveat I could see, and I kind of touched on this not last week, but the week before, I think it was, where some of the home builders were doing their version of in-house financing, so to speak, and just kind of undercutting the Fed rate, the bank rate, and just to move inventory. They had the keen inventory where resale of older homes was kind of dwindling because everybody who refinanced, when rates were like down around 3%, they aren't going anywhere. So there's not as many resales on the market as there are new construction. So a lot of the, or not a lot of, but a few of the builders went and started doing something with being able to do hard money lending or whatever it was, and just kind of take some of the market share there. And that's where this whole hype and fluff wave came from. And now we're just hitting the top of that, and the Fed's kind of teetering on things. So we could see that flip around pretty quick. And I think I like a short on this just as soon as it starts to confirm that it's going to break down from here. A lot of people will see this as a bull flag that is already extended. uh, you know, Always apply that 60-40 rule to those bull flags. It's got the 60% chance of follow through, but the 40% chance of failure is really starting to stack up now. And as soon as it breaks this range bar here on a 2 hour, I'm going to be interested in looking for a short on this. Um, that was the kind of the first one you looked at, and then there's identical charts all the way down the board until you get to the last
Yeah,
two.
they always look the same.
LEN is one that he's talked about in the past, and I took some very keen analysis on that one and did pretty good running a 1-for-1 short on that one, and it kind of popped right back up. I got out in time on that one, but now it hit the angular from the previous channel. Didn't quite reach the top of the big measured move here, but there's a key target here at 133 that if it touches that, I know it'll go right back down and test the support level. Again, very similar chart. It's very parabolic here. It's already just overdone for the hype wave, so to speak. And I think we can probably find a good short here really soon.
Yeah,
Um,
and we're short this one in SJIM.
nice. I would be too. And I'm looking for a couple of key targets. One, you go back to the previous accumulation, look for run down to 119, 120. Um, if it continues momentum down from there, you pretty much just retrace all of these range bars in the previous trend, and ultimately the target could be around 104 or 105. Just kind of stay tight. Once you get to about 120, it might start to build a little momentum there and maybe bounce for a minute. But I always trade very short term with my swing trades on option spreads, and that's where I would be like looking for swap strategies to gain a little bit of premium on that and then lock it in and then maybe ride the rest of it down. I forgot to mute my phone today. Got a bunch going on in the background here. All right, moving down the list here. He's got a couple others on there. He's got TOL, Toll Brothers. And again, kind of the same chart, only this one has a potential for a quick breakout, but it's looking a little weak now.
Right. If you're a breakout trader, this is the one you buy, but I'm
Right.
not a breakout trader.
No, and that's the thing. It's like it's got to break that 86, 87 level before it really goes anywhere. It's got potential to make a quick breakout, but again, like this whole sector has just been parabolic. So I mean, just be careful. I would just rather trade whatever the heck this breakout of this wedge gives me, and if it gives me a quick short to retrace half this, I'll probably take that first. But either way, once this pattern breaks, it usually gives you a very quick move. And there's two big fatty range bars here. They split the difference on the bottom of the range bar. So I would just rather trade whatever the heck this breakout of this wedge gives me, and if it gives me a quick short to retrace half this, I'll probably take that first. But either way, once this pattern breaks, it usually gives you a very quick move. And there's two big fatty range bars here. They split the difference on primary move. So, you've got a short target of like 83, and then a long target would give you like, 89 and 93 respectively if it breaks out. So just watch this range. It'll break and give you a quick trade very shortly. So, a couple days maybe. And it was kind of the same thing with PHM down here, only this one is already heavily shorted. So this one could give you a little squeeze on this. So that's kind of got the potential to finish its move right to about $91. But the shorts have kind of covered this. So it could even come back and retrace this. I don't know who the hell would have shorted this run or this one, but if you look at the long term, that's shorts covering. They're done already. So you look at Cramer, he said, it's heavily shorted. That's all he said. He's not really making a call, bull or bear on this thing. But I would say trade the break. This pattern is going to break. It'll give you a quick move, and then just wait for the next after that. Not my most favorite sector to trade really anyway, but it's got some potential.
I love trading the home builders.
Yeah, I do trade REITs, and I do trade some of the real estate sector. I just don't do a lot with the builders, but LEN I did. I did mess with that one a little bit, but other than that, I'm not really into messing with them too much, just because the charts are just kind of haphazard sometimes. These parabolic moves just come out of nowhere, or so it seems. This is the last one he's looking at is KB Home. Definitely overextended on a weekly. I'm definitely looking for this thing to come slamming back down. It hit the halfway target of our expected measured move out of this big gap build right here, and rejected with a couple clean wicks. So this one might be the best short of all of these is this guy here, and watch for quick target down to 50-50, maybe an extension down, give half this move back down to the 200, should meet it there on a daily, somewhere around $46, $47. I think that could be a good
just
short.
may not be the best if you're using options. I don't know that. Yeah, I think typically Lennar and Pulte are the ones that have the most liquid options.
Absolutely, yeah. This one is really crummy.
And then there's I like XHB, which is the ETF.
That's the better
That's
way to
usually
go if
got
you're
a
going to
nice
short the
fee.
sector for sure.
Yeah.
And that was kind of it for the builders. He went into one of his all-time favorite stocks to play with, TJX. Ah, man, I almost want to trade this one more. It kind of almost nailed the target of a full 1-for-1 up here. I remember talking about this thing a couple months ago when I first started doing this, and it never really reached the full target. It just gave us this big stinking wick out of nowhere for this week so far. And was he saying bull move on this thing? Let me see here. Reported an earnings and revenue beat for the quarter. We will send out our analysis of the results after listening to the management's call. Well, I didn't hear anything on, and I didn't watch the show last night. Did he say anything about TJX last night?
No, he didn't say anything about TJX last night. Last night he interviewed Target CEO, which is why we're going short
Right.
in SJIM. He hasn't said anything about TJX, unfortunately, because that looks like a really nice short setup here today, breaking the 50-day.
Oh yeah.
I might actually grab that in my personal account.
Yeah, it hasn't even given us half the expected move yet. So I mean, first target would be about 87.90 or around there, and then the base of that move would be about 86. That might be a great short, and still a good short. Heck, that one's got enough options liquidity where I might even mess with a couple
Oh
of
yeah,
spreads
yeah,
on
yeah.
that.
No, that one's fine.
Just a key note: the previous accumulation kind of split the mean. It goes right in the middle of our expected move. So first target would be like 87.80. Crack that, it'll give you another finishing touch to that move. Very likely. Looking good for a short. There's a lot of shorts in the market today. That's actually working out pretty good. Another one he loves to pound the table about: AFRM. Oh man, that thing's so
He
fun.
actually came out positive on AFRM.
Yeah, he made a kudos move there. He was a little bit bullish on that, wasn't he? Yeah, he's kind of looking at that, and now the move's kind of over. He didn't give any real details other than the fact that he's got multiple target raises following the company's investors. Blah 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 blah. Investors Day. It's kind of I hate to say it, fundamentals are going to be kind of a key thing in this particular equity, but a long, long time ago, I printed a whole bunch of different pivot points, and usually I use the weekly or the monthly chart to find those. I just look left and find all the range bars in the mix, and I strike a horizontal line across them, and it hit exactly a target here and rejected it cleanly at 27 bucks. And very short term, quick retracement, probably down here to about 21 or 21.50, and then I think this thing could actually trend higher if it breaks this 27 level. So kind of kudos for the short-term bull move that he called out, but just be careful because once it rejects one of these pivots, it's very quick. We
I
had
mean, it looks like a short if you, and definitely if you're a trader,
right,
we're not shorted in SJIM just because this thing can, squeeze and be up,
right,
20% in a day.
and this looks almost the same as Snapchat. It's got that long accumulation after market capitalization took place, market structure did its thing, and it's at that point where it can surprise the hell out of you in short squeeze. And that $27
Yeah.
pivot is like the golden goose. So if it starts to give you gold, look for a very quick move to the next pivot, $38, $39 on extension from previous high, and then just draw your lines all the way up this chart. If you want to hit that halfway point, good Lord, $94, that'd be a hell of a squeeze. So definitely
Yep.
be careful if you're going to short this thing. It looks very similar to Snap, I think, and if it can get kind of buggy on you if you're not careful. So I'm going to print a white line there as about a split of this whole thing. So that's usually going to be a good target for if this thing squeezes and cooks off and starts smoking these pivots. That's where it goes. Tread lightly on this one. Definitely be careful because this can just rip a face off. The other one he talked about, pardon me, voice is cracking. One he actually made a good call on, VRT. He was a bit bullish on it. It went right to and it was talking about a change. So B of A apparently raised its price target to 52 from 45, and it stacked right up to 45 and rejected it yesterday. And now we're kind of open right back to a retracement zone. And if this thing starts to show some momentum of a reversal right in here around 42 bucks, it could go and touch that target one more time and maybe even break it. I'm very cautious about this given half back first, and that's where we're looking for that 42. So very short term. Traders been shorting this today, and their target's probably gonna be right in the middle of the previous accumulation. So look for a bounce off of 42 if anything. It just so happens that the 2 hour 50
I,
period,
I'd look for the 10-day. I mean, this has held 10-day really since the end of October.
right? And that's very similarly, I love to watch that 8 period for trends, and that's about where it would meet, about 42 bucks. And if it touches that today and bounces, this might be a good long right back to 45 and maybe even a little higher, run to 46.80, $47 or so. And B of A stuck a target up here. It doesn't mean it's going to up and nail it. I would love to see it accumulate here first between 45 and 47 for a couple days after a run, and then maybe make that reach, later, probably end of December type of thing. Um, Other than that, just be very, very quick on this thing. Traders are all over shorting that quick pop to that target and a rejection. They've pretty much made their move on this first, and they can extend it down to 42 and maybe bounce it there. So definitely look for a quick retracement play on that. Probably a good day trade into the close today. And then tomorrow we'll see if it starts to pick up that trend off the 10-day or 8-day as I like to watch. Pretty good eye on that one. That was pretty much the last thing he talked about. I mean, that was kind of a very short ride yesterday for as far as walking through Jim stuff. You guys have any? You actually have some developments on your Tesla and Nvidia ETFs.
Yeah, no, I mean, those are really, really starting to pick up. Less than a month total, and in the whole complex, there's 30 million. And, that's hard to do for ETFs. I mean, usually
Yeah.
there's a long, slow build up. And we had no money soft circled for it. So we're, pretty excited. And the options chain is starting to trade too, which is great. I mean, people love the options on the two X's.
Oh, absolutely. I love selling options on leveraged ETFs, man. That's one of my favorite things to do. And SGM is it's holding its own. I mean, it's doing pretty good, and it's right at a level where I'm interested in going long on it right now, right around 2250. So I'm kind of looking at that. And one other little trick I have for price action traders out there, when you see volume is kind of steady, but it's not the best volume just yet for traders. But you look at it with HA candles, and it starts to make sense. You start to see where those trends are likely to reverse, and I'm starting to see a little hint of possible reversal after this bearish move here. Come back and retrace 2350, and maybe even peak out at 2450 again. Great ETF though, I like it, and I think if it had a little more options liquidity, I'd like, but it's doing well enough now. And then what was the other ticker on? I always forget the Nvidia one. Is it
So
NVD?
the NVDX is the long NVIDIA, NVDQ is the short. And NVIDIA's got earnings coming up.
Yeah. So I'm going to run the 2 hour on the HA candles here, and I like that it's got this little short term one for one down. It tapped right off of our 2 hour 50 period, and like a clock bounced right back up and retraced. So I might see this thing with their earnings coming up start to do some runs, and options liquidity is going to be key for me, and I like
Yeah,
that.
I think that until earnings, NVIDIA is going to have a tough time with that 500 if they want to try to rally it. But, after earnings, who knows? I mean, if they have an earnings report like they did in June, then,
Yeah,
God knows what happens.
I get confused. It's not TSLX. Why am I picking this up?
ESLT is the
TSLT. That's
long
right.
Tesla.
I put it in as the one for Nvidia by accident. The X on the end instead of a T. Yeah, that's got some great volume. I'm liking
Yeah.
this.
I mean, 500,000 shares, over 500,000 yesterday, 180 so far today on what's really a pretty quiet day.
I picked up a couple of long-term bullish debit spreads on that last week, and they're doing good. I might, I might peel a couple into, convert a couple into butterflies here just in case. But I've got some profit still locked in there. I think I might add to my position on that because I can see that it's likely to bounce here right off of this control bar. I like the price action on it. It's out of the gate. It's doing really well for interests, and I
Yeah,
really
and
like
I
this one.
mean Tesla's at a key spot right here, right under the 50-day moving average.
It's where I get the cross chart, and it made exactly that move we talked about last week. It went right and even extended a little bit above it. I was looking at a 242, 243 target, and it nailed that. Went to 246.70, pulled back. It's kind of sitting on the same exact control bar as the leveraged ETF there, same bar,
Yeah. I mean,
and
230.72 would be kind of my pivot there. If it went below that, I'd look to use TSLZ and go short.
just for a short term. Remember we were talking about this gap on the daily chart, and it filled that gap pretty well. Did exactly
It
what we knew it
did.
would do. And then here we've got a gap to the downside possible. So like maybe take a quick short down to like 224.50 somewhere in that area for a quick scalp. But it's starting to look like it's getting ready to you know um, have its way with the 207 pivot and actually run a trend reversal here and maybe get back to some bull moves later. I know Elon was a little not depressed really, but he was a little disheartened at the being straightforward with people and saying, hey man, we didn't do that great this quarter, and a couple things were playing into that. But that 207 pivot, I've had that thing for many months now, and it's just worked out great as a base. And here we are. We broke through it a little bit, but it's just picked right back up, ran on top of it, and then tested it again. 207 is a great spot for that thing. Um, can I see it hitting the bottom and testing back to 50% retracement of the previous move? Absolutely. I'd love to see it hit 215 again and bounce, but can we take a quick scalp short? Well, the safety zone is going to be like the 223 area for the shorts on this. But after that, I think we could pick out a trend from this, either bearish or bullish. I think more likely to be bullish afterwards, but time will tell. And then the weekly. That's that key zone up here. Once it gets loose after this thing can really change, start treading water. Get through this liquidity zone, and we still have that 380 analyst target. It's an old target. I don't know if it's been changed in a while. So, this setup is very very much on board with breaking that zone and running up there eventually. I mean, it might not do it till well into next year, but I'd love to see a trend change happen here and just walk out. And it's got that little double bottom look that everybody looks for too. You got the both head and shoulders, and I call this the Wu-Tang because you get the second low is higher than the first low, and then it breaks resistance and runs on. So look for trends in the near future, but definitely some good scalps on this thing. It's a very highly traded stock, and the ETF that tracks it now, leveraged, gives you some great option selling opportunities. So I think I'm going to start looking to probably run a few synthetics on it at first, and then if it dips just to that low point, I might just build a quick bull position on that and hold that as a wheel trade. That's my goal.
Nice.
I love income strategies, man. That's my bread and butter right there. Staying diverse in my portfolio. Risk capital is used for scalping futures, and then I've got the long-term stuff. Just basically, run limit orders on options trades and let it generate income. It's the best way to go.
I like it.
Good stuff. Well, I know you got a party to get to, basically.
Yeah, speaking at an ETF conference about opportunities for 2024.
Sweet. Me neither, man. I'm gonna catch that one if it's not too much trouble. Send me a link. I'd love to watch
If
that.
you were in New York, I have free passes, but
Ooh. I wanted to be in New York this week. Quasar just had the beta launch party the other day or yesterday, and I wanted to be there, but I've got a lot of stuff that I've got to take care of here at home too, having a family and all. I'm looking into some of the stuff that I might get to go and do in 2024. So I'll try and get to New York around there and do some fun stuff.
let me know.
I still have on my bucket list. I've got to go and shake John Bollinger's hand. That would be a high mark on my bucket list. So
Nice.
eventually,
Okay.
I'll get there. I love the guy. Right on. Well, thanks for joining us, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of the week and an even better weekend. Be a little bit nimble in this market. It's going to have some pretty quick swings, but I think all in all, we're setting up to start coming out with some trends in the next week or two, and we could see some stuff become more lucrative in the long run. Short-term trades are starting to fall back and compress, and everything's starting to look like we're going to make a bigger move later. And just real quick, I'll look at SPY and show you one thing. It's kind of like clockwork. It's done everything we wanted it to do and more. And, we can't ignore this giant cup and handle pattern. Well, there's the handle, there's the break, there's your 50% retracement. We're in the gold zone. If we snap out of this thing and trend, things look great in the coming weeks. So, kind of wait for this to do what it's going to do. It can still come back and test support again. We could still have some turmoil in the economy, and the global markets can do whatever the hell they want. But all in all, I had no doubt, in spite of this daily bearish engulfing that everybody was talking about last week, I was still bullish on this, and dude, it was paying off. So kind of be tight with it. See you guys later. Have a great week. And again, thanks for joining me. Let's do some more stuff next week, and we'll build this relationship of ours into something great to provide more for the people, and that's what we like to do. Our hearts are in the same place.
Definitely.
Right on. Thanks again. Have a great one, man.